Oh. And we started with a cough, ladies and gentlemen.
That's how we do it. We're professionals out here. I always love the camera angle because it just makes Dave and Caleb look huge. Like, look at how jacked Dave looks.
Yeah, actually, I fucked up the camera.
Oh, the reverb.
Would you like me to adjust it?
Yeah, if you just want to push the camera towards you, basically. You want it just to touch my shoulder.
Yeah.
Just grace.
I don't want
Folks,
to show them the stuff in the
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
Wow.
Hello.
To the Producer Lounge. I'm not talking to you, AT. I'm talking about audience.
Cheers to that.
This is episode 83. We are, of course, brought to you by Always 400 as per the usual. A little more. Yeah, a little more. A little more. There it is. That's what I'm talking about, because I want to make sure I see all of your girth. Folks, we are, of course, brought to you by Always 400, and this is the show where we sit here and bullshit about music production.
Yes,
the
sir.
whole time.
Yes.
And we might dabble in some other aspects of life that we're not experts in. So
We're pretty good at that.
Feel free to join us in that. If you have any questions or comments or hate us, type in chat. Don't be scared. Also,
Talk shit in chat.
trick the algorithm and hit the sub button. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Anyways, let's give a big shout to our guest this week. We have the Aarons.
Yes.
Wow.
Hello.
Hello, friends.
Hello. Introduce yourselves. You can go first, AT.
My name is Aaron, and
What are you produced by? What's your name?
Worn in. I have
Worn In.
a Bad Snacks remix that just came out.
Oh, yeah.
Let's
Oh,
go.
damn.
He made it top 15, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah. Made it onto stream. She played his track.
That's
Yeah.
big. It's huge.
Huge.
Big ups.
Big ups.
And our next guest?
Also Aaron.
Yes.
And I go by Von Cluse.
Von
Von
Cluse.
Cluse.
Fun clues.
Yeah. I know.
So mysterious.
Ooh.
Very spicy.
Yeah. Both of our
Dude, we
guests
did
tonight.
that at the exact. We drank our beer at the exact same time.
Dude.
Or like the Aaron's gotta.
You
We
guys
gotta
are
be
in
in
sync
We
right
gotta
now.
be in
Yeah.
sync the whole
Beautiful.
time.
You were saying?
So both of our guests specialize in polka production. They've been at it for what, 7, 8 years tonight?
Also some
Touched
country
back
house.
for that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome.
It's a good thing
Thank
to
you,
circle
Caleb,
back for. Yeah.
letting me say that.
I wouldn't have if I knew what you were going to say.
The amount of times I bring up fucking polka on this podcast,
Polka.
I don't know why. It's just my
Oh.
default
Genre.
dumb genre
You
to.
know, it's been around for a while.
It has.
Dude, I wouldn't call it a dumb genre. Think about all the polka fans that are on here right now.
I'm pretty sure it was the first genre.
I mean, you
Yeah.
could be wrong.
The Romanians and
The
the
Romanians.
The Polkanians.
the Balkans.
The Balkans.
Balkans.
So, boys.
Beautiful. So how's everybody's week?
Yep.
It's good.
Decent.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah. Recently unemployed, so I'm making a lot of music.
That's what I like to
Fuck.
kind
yeah.
of hear.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, the making a lot of music part is nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sucks not to be making any money. But it's good to be making some tunes.
It is absolutely good to be making tunes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Better than
That's
nothing.
future money.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Future
Investing
money.
in your future. You know?
Future
Exactly.
money.
Yeah. Yeah, my week's been pretty good. I made a future funk track today.
Yes.
You guys know what that is? Have you heard future funk at all?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, it's fun. Very out of my lane, but I've been hyped on this guy. We've all been hyped on this guy, Starjunk 95. Shout out that dude.
So good.
Star Jug 95.
Yeah,
I just made a track referencing that guy too.
I know. Yeah,
Mine
Nice.
didn't sound anything close to what he sounds like. Though. It was just
Okay.
like
Cool.
it took a little bit of inspiration, but
You always need a starting point.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. I used to like this band called Starflyer 59.
I remember that.
wow. Wait, that's got to be
Oh,
some kind of
he
reference.
has to be
Yeah,
referencing
there's
that,
no
yeah.
way. Starjunk
Yeah,
95.
it sounds pretty.
yeah. Starflyer 59.
Wow, yeah, that's
totally-
crazy.
Starflyer 59 is like pothead, like rock and roll, where it's like very like lazy, and the guy's like, it's
Yeah,
like,
that's the
right.
exact opposite.
it's
of
pretty
what
dope,
Right.
but
Starjunk is.
at least it was dope when I was a child.
Yeah.
You know, couple couple of years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like last year.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Definitely.
That's
was a
tight.
child
So
last
funky
year.
shit.
They grow up fast.
Funky shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've also been fucking. We talked about it a bit last week, but I've just been obsessed with distortion on basses.
Oh yeah.
Just fucking cranking it. It's so much fun.
Yummy.
It's so much fun. And then to top it off, you do it like individually on each channel. Give it a little saturation, maybe some OTT, limiting, clipping, the usual. But then I've been bus saturating everything. just
Oh, explain that.
afterwards.
What the hell is that?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, because I can picture it in my brain, but
Yeah.
You have a bus that things are sent to, and you saturate the
distortions.
bus.
Well, you got what are you doing it in parallel? Is that the
Essentially.
It is
Essentially?
essentially parallel.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a way, yeah. Totally.
Oh, word.
And it's always fun because, at least for me, I think
always
it's like,
fun.
okay, I'm cranking it pretty hard on the individual channels. I'm just gonna chill for a bit and then come back, and then you saturate the whole group, and you're like, oh, I can keep going, and it sounds cooler and cooler. What's happening?
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
The sauce with saturation is lots of a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of a little
I feel like that's the same with reverb too. You got it like
Well-
you want reverb, but you just
a little bit.
yeah. It's just
I
you
like it
gotta-
really dry, but
Yeah,
I'm
it can be a crutch for sure. You don't want to use too much.
Right.
reverb.
Or doing
No.
like reverb throws or reverb swells, like just
Yeah.
little bits where it comes in and out is always great because it gives the illusion of like, oh, the thing has a lot of reverb, but really it's just for that 1 second
Right.
where it's not in your
Well,
face.
you should always be printing your reverb at this point. If you're trying to make dance, like if it's not glue reverb, like bus reverb, that you use for depth and stuff. If it's like a throw or anything like that, or
Right.
something that swells out of reverb or into reverb,
Right.
print that shit so you can fucking chop it off the moment you need it to
Yeah.
fucking chop off. Or
Yeah.
you can
I don't really
then
do-
affect it more and thin it out as it goes on or whatever. like,
Yeah, do fun creative
so much-
processing on it, reverse
Yeah.
it. I've been hyped on like auto panning the reverbs. Do like a really
Interesting,
fast one, yeah.
interesting.
And maybe not the whole time, but like you can mix in the dry wet so you get like the throw and then it does like a wobble across the speakers or a
Right,
volume or
right,
just little bits.
Right.
Pitch it up.
It doesn't work
I
quite
know,
that
I
way.
I wish it did.
Yeah.
We're all Leslie speakers now.
Yeah, fucking reverb. So much fun.
Sick.
Love it.
Yeah.
I mean, as
Auto panning's sick.
making synthwave, it's hard to avoid using
Right,
reverb.
yeah, that's
a
very-
difficult. But you got to tame it. Like gating a lot of stuff.
Right.
Is very helpful.
Well, yeah, that's also why I like printing it down, because then you can manually gate it. Because you can physically
Yeah.
see the reverb where it goes. You can make sure it cuts off before the next snare. Like all that shit. Plus, then you could, if it's for snare, like you could print one reverb and then just use that same reverb or a couple different variations each time so that you know it's going to fucking be all saucy and sound the same. It's not going to do any weird shit.
Yeah.
But-
actually, that I've never thought about this, but when you use like a reverb on a snare, like you're talking about, if you wanted to print separate ones, does it like change every time you would like go to record a separate like reverb? Does it like re-trigger, or is it like kind of different every time? Do you guys know with reverbs?
You're talking about if you send the same sample through multiple times in a row?
Yeah, is it
If
just
it's
going to be the
different,
same exact reverb?
It'll be the same.
Oh,
it's
okay.
gonna
Makes sense.
be-
It's an algorithm.
Yeah, it'd be essentially the same.
Okay, so just like re-triggers
It's
kind of
just
thing.
a delay,
Right.
basically.
Yeah.
With
It's
the
just
shape and shit.
Printing it down allows you to maintain that tail.
Yeah.
I actually
the
learned how to
accuracy of
do doing reverb in parallel from the first time I was on this podcast a while
Let's go.
ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing
Oh,
it
yeah.
ever since. Yeah, like I was like, wait a minute, you can. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
And then you figure out you could do parallel compression,
Yes.
aka Manhattan compression, dude.
Why is it called
Shit,
Manhattan
I just did-
compression?
They just parallel compressed a lot in Manhattan in hip hop in the
Yep.
fucking 90s.
Oh, that makes
you
total
can
sense.
kind of hear it when you like listen to those beats versus West Coast beats.
New York compression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually because they dropped the bomb on the evolution of compression.
YouTube, don't fuck,
Almost had something there.
don't fuck us for that use of that word.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
you
God.
gotta be careful.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
I feel like bomb is fine,
I-
right?
You said
You'd be
It's pretty bomb.
you said dropped.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Careful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fair. That's fair. I'll watch it. I'll watch
Use your
it.
words wisely.
Cunt. Oh,
Oh,
Sorry.
no.
Dude, you gotta get that cough checked out.
I know dude. It's been weeks now.
Yeah, will you shut up already? Jesus Christ.
Damn. Well, Dave, how's your week? You got the studio set up?
Yeah, I just moved into a new room and been setting up the studio, which is like, it's funny now because we've been building our own acoustic treatment and shit for years, and I just have a overflow of an amount of panels that I can use.
Yeah.
So it was a whole thing of like, okay, which sizes do I need and where do I put them and how do I mount them, all those sorts of
Right,
things.
right.
Mm-hmm.
But once you figure out the mounting, it just goes by like that.
Right.
Yeah. And
Very
you still
simple.
have extra here, right?
I know.
There's like
I know.
5
I'm
or
gonna
6.
use some of it.
Nice.
Yeah, plus then it's exciting.
I'll probably leave a little bit more.
Oh.
But
Yeah, we're going to put it in the bathroom.
No.
For all of our.
You want that
really
bathroom to
dampen
have
that
a-
bathroom
Yeah.
sound.
Quiet.
You really want that
Imagine.
bathroom to not have any reverb. Imagine
really
going into a
dry
It's too
bathroom with no
moist.
reverb.
It's too moist.
Yeah.
You don't want that
A bathroom with
getting in the-
no
Needs to be more
reverb.
dry, or else there's gonna be a bunch of fungus everywhere. And
Right,
it's just
no.
gonna be fucking all
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
You gotta
wet
s-
in the wrong way.
Want to be sanitary for sure.
you know,
Yeah.
Well,
it's gonna
but
be
still
constant.
imagine
I know.
if it was nice and
I know.
dampened in your bathroom,
I
you're taking
know.
a shower, all you hear is the
water.
hitting you the first time it hits you.
Right.
That's wild.
There's no reflection at all. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I've heard of people
Gotta
recording
build a
in
bathroom
bathrooms.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard of there's this guy. Why not? You know, this guy
Yeah,
from
totally.
Fleetwood Mac, Lindsey Buckingham, recorded a decent amount of this record called Tusk in a bathroom
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he liked the acoustics of it a lot, and he was rich, so he had a huge bathroom. So he was like, I don't know, he just
Right.
set up like a little thing and was just recording a bunch of vocals and stuff in the
Right.
bathroom.
That's sick.
It's a really good move.
It's a move.
It
dude.
is.
It's a
right.
move.
It's a popular old school move.
Yeah.
Right.
It's crazy to me to think of like back then, like actually getting reverb instead of like now it's all synthetic. Like it's interesting that before it was like I've heard of stories of people recording in airplane hangars back
Oh,
in
yeah.
the day and just
Drills.
like
Well, yeah, they had a room called the amp room to like specifically to like put an amp in and then like mic it up and then it just gets the room.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
it's so
Have
cool.
a couple other mics in the room to like get the corners.
Yeah.
Now we just hit the airplane hanger preset on whatever. Just like, yep, there we go.
Turn the airplane knob up a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
When we get our warehouse, we'll definitely have the
Oh,
amp
I mean,
room.
We already do weird things like that. Like take
Yep.
the field recorder, play your track in the garage, then layer
That's
it back
basically
onto
that
it.
same
Yeah, it's
thing.
the exact
Yep.
same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just put speakers in a weird space, record them with the sound you like, and then layer that on top,
Mm-hmm.
and you're good to go. It's a pro tip.
Boom.
Pro tip.
Easy peasy.
I wonder how, like, if you're like one of the guys who made Valhalla, like how you go about making a reverb sound authentic. Like, what are you doing to make it sound like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Lots of trial and error.
Lots.
Lots
Yeah.
of fucking around with delays.
Yeah, because I mean, all reverbs are delays, aren't they?
And it's a lot of just algorithms, so it's a lot of like coding.
right.
What are we trying to make sound authentic with a reverb?
Just the reverb
Just
itself.
the reverb itself. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, be an interesting process to
Well-
like want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, would be a combination, I would imagine, of reverbs to get an authentic.
Mm-hmm.
An authentic reverb is not really the way to say it. It's a room,
A room, yeah, to replicate because
Right.
Make
that's
a
our whole
room,
thing.
Right.
Replicating.
essentially.
Yeah.
So you need less reverb than you think, unless the room you want to be in is the Grand Canyon
Massive.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever,
I'm sure I wonder if they're referencing like all the rooms.
which would be
in
a fun
general.
room to try and make the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it would.
If they
That
were going in
L-shaped Grand
separate
Canyon.
rooms, like trying to replicate the reverbs of that particular space.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways you can do it with impulse responses. You can just now you can just make a reverb out of anything.
Shout out Convolution.
Like,
yeah.
I gotta show you guys that. I don't think
Never.
I've showed you that yet.
Nope.
I don't.
not yet.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
cool
what
as fuck.
I've not seen that yet.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, in Ableton 11 they introduced the hybrid reverb. And I
Love
think
it.
you can also do it the convolution reverb in 10. But
Yeah.
you can basically drag any sample into it and it'll load up an impulse response and turn that sound into like a reverb.
Oh.
yeah.
It's strange. Sometimes you get cool results. Sometimes it's just fucking
Right,
weird.
Right, sometimes
Oh,
it's just
man.
weird.
Yeah.
That's how it
Yeah.
is
Yep.
sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like trying to put things into Corpus. You're like, this could be cool, and then a lot of the time it is not cool
Yeah.
at all.
Right.
It is the weirdest thing.
Resonator banks are weird.
Yeah, that's a hard one to
They're
get away
weird.
with.
Yeah.
But when it does sound cool, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, but
Sounds
it
really
sounds
cool.
exactly like a resonator.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just like,
Like,
oh, it
does
sounds like
the thing.
Corpus.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
so-
best result that you're gonna get. Is
It would
to
be-
sound like Corpus.
It'd be almost ideal if you're doing a corpusy thing, is just to make a tone, corpus it, make it cool,
Right.
and then print it and put it in a sampler and use it that way.
That's a
Right.
good idea.
Oh,
That's a good idea.
that's
Because
fun.
you could like push nodes and
Then you
shit
can
with
pitch it.
EQs and like
Yeah.
do weird shit and then pitch it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because any kind of resonation thing, I'm always like, well,
Yeah.
as soon as I change the pitch, it gets
Fucked up.
destroyed.
Yeah.
And I don't want to like build a knob that follows the fucking
Yeah.
pitch or whatever.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either.
Yeah, I'm not that much of a glutton for punishment.
No, no.
Work smart, not hard.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I've been having a lot of fun lately with parallel reverb. When you have an EQ after everything, just creating weird shapes in the EQ and boosting like certain frequencies just to create like a weird tone after your initial sound. That's been a lot of fun to
Super
play
fun.
with. Yeah.
Hybrid has the built-in EQ in there as well, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, which
yeah,
is
and
kind of
hybrid-
nice. You can like actually like
Push around.
push
and see what
around, which
happens,
is
yeah.
that is nice. At least I mean, you probably still put it in parallel anyway, but like because that's
Right.
kind of with Valhalla. I'll put it in parallel and then have a EQ cutting out all the low end or most of the low end anyway. Just get all the butt out of there.
Right, right.
It's too thick.
It's too thick. Yeah, you don't want the butt
Or two Cs.
and you don't want the high too. You don't
No.
want like those two crispies. You want it just
Unless you
color.
want to fucking destroy your ears.
Yeah.
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 Which if you do, then
By all means, go ahead and do it. But most
There
people
you
not
go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not all of us make rhythm.
yeah.
I do, and that was very disrespectful.
I'm sorry.
Wow, guys.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Here on the Rhythm Lounge podcast, you're
Um,
going to say that? Jesus.
I just like bringing up genres I don't know anything about.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write you down for that.
It's okay.
Oh.
You guys are
Ooh.
polka producers. You don't
Strike
know
one.
Yeah,
better
I
yet.
don't. What?
Polka OG.
Yeah. First poke step song was
Folk step.
What's something that either of you have been trying to figure out recently that you are having a hard time figuring out?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm freshy on Ableton coming off a freaking GarageBand, so I'm just kind of getting used to the whole structure and everything of Ableton and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But
You've
really-
been learning quick, though.
yeah, I mean, it comes decently easy to me with this music stuff, but I'm still just figuring out how to, really just do a lot of the basics and whatnot and figure out what works and what doesn't with it. What to actually like automate that does work automating and what
Yeah,
doesn't, shit like that.
that's a fun time.
It's a little stressful sometimes when things don't really actually like work out the way I'm wanting them
Yeah.
to. But I got a lot of homies that all I gotta do is just call them up and get some help.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
It's nice. It's
yeah.
really nice.
It is nice to have
Just
some
be locked
resources.
in my bedroom alone, YouTubing shit and everything like
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
And you
Probably.
you
Yep.
trust that you just hope
Did
to God
that.
that they're right. The
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah, you never know.
YouTuber you're following actually knows what they're talking about.
Well,
Yeah.
wasn't there? There was this one dude you were talking about. Damn, I can't remember what you were talking.
He's
about.
like
It's something about.
You suck at producing?
no,
Reed
I
Stefan, the
can't-
puppet.
I can't remember. It was.
The only credible ones that I really
I'm drawing a blank on this. I can't remember. You were.
is
Telling,
he the sound design guy?
You were talking about you were doing something the other night that like neither. Oh, it was mono on the bass.
Oh, that's
Oh.
a stupid thing that I, for some reason, I thought I was like every bass has to be mono. Like I literally just that's what I assumed, and
Sub
so,
wants
Yeah.
to be mono.
Sub mono. Yeah.
The bass,
Bass is
yeah.
a large area of frequencies.
Sub is like 100 and below, basically,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can start winding things past that to
Yeah.
a certain degree. you know?
that happens to me where I'll hear something secondhand and then start doing it and then
I
not ask
understand.
people
I
about it.
understand.
I hate doing that so much.
You gotta ask the homies first.
I know.
Right?
Yeah, you gotta ask.
That's right. We all learn together.
We all learn
Yep.
together.
We know what's best for each other.
What I'm mostly looking for is like a specific thing that either of you is having a hard time Are you trying to figure anything out recently? And not because
Well,
we could just answer the question is kind of what I'm thinking.
Let me
Perfect.
see.
Yeah, what have you been struggling with?
What's something you've been having a hard time with?
Okay, so I'm kind of working on some like tech house stuff and realizing that it's like a pretty simple structure, but at the same time like figuring out the right bass tones and everything like that.
Sure,
Bass
okay.
tones for me right now are super hard to figure out and whatnot, and like I guess just getting the good balance of it like hitting hard enough and everything like that, having a simple progression that isn't like too much but not like too little and whatnot,
Right,
and just kind of figuring that stuff out, which I'm sure is just gonna come over time, like learning what like works for me and whatnot. But yeah, it's really those bass tones for sure. Like, because some of them can just get really boring and like dry for the wrong reasons.
Sure.
But then you know, trying to like push it up a little bit with like the frequency or something like that on it, and then the bass like lasts too long. That was a problem I was having on this one song I was working on just over the weekend. That the bass, like, you know, hit pretty well. It was nice and subby and whatnot, but the release on it and everything was super long, and even dropping it still just kind of like overwhelmed the whole track and whatnot. So I guess trying to find that good balance of like a nice bass that isn't boring, I guess, right? I know that's like very
man.
vague,
No,
I
you're
don't
good.
have much to work off at this point. It's like been a month since I've been on it. So.
Right. One, specifically with something like that where you have trouble with the release being too long, that's when I would just freeze and flatten it down into audio, and then you can just chop off the end and fade it.
Cool,
And then,
yeah,
then the release is wherever the fuck you want it.
right now. So.
Yeah. So that's one thing always when you have something that's not behaving, but it's kind of doing what you want it to, or it's sounding correct, but it's not behaving right, just convert it into audio, and then you can just fucking manipulate the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Which is always fun.
Not bothered to try that at all this whole time.
No, it's
yet,
all right.
so.
That's good. Make sure your synth is in a mono state if it's a bass, so you don't have like overlapping notes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting triggered again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thanks,
Trigger
audience.
that ADSR, folks.
Let's go.
ADSR.
Something we talk about a lot is just movement in general.
I was just gonna bring that up, honestly.
Yeah. It's an easy one to forget because you could be like, oh well, my filter's doing something. I have like a volume automation, like it's moving a lot, but you can always get just like little subtle movement over time with like vibrato, or the filter changes a little bit, opens up a little more, closes a little bit more. That's a huge one for just more life and like
I feel like a good reference would be Oliver. His bass
He
tones
evolves
are
shit a
really
lot.
good, but
The
his
squares.
progressions are super simple. You know, just like throwing a little like lick in with the bass, and then it's just like one note. but it just,
Right.
or like all of a
just
sudden
carries
Portamento
so
comes
well.
on and it just like
Well,
things are just constantly.
A lot of that is arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
I always say your first line of defense is arrangement in terms of like coolness of the track and like how clean the mix is. Because if you can avoid having the bass note hit when the kick does, you're already gonna have a super clean track.
Kind of the idea at this point right now.
You can't always get away with it because sometimes you need a bass hit on the one where the kick is. Is what it
But
is.
if you can get it
But-
right, then it.
But yeah,
it
your
helps a
first
lot.
line of defense is see if I can make a cool thing. One thing that me and Dave did a lot when we first started making house is we would just have a house beat, just boots and cats, just running for fucking bars and bars and bars and bars and bars, and we just loop a section and sit there with like a sub note patch, just like a super simple bass it's not trying to be an Oliver bass. It's not trying to be anything specific. It's just
a
like doom
bass.
ba doom boom boom. It's just a super simple sub bass.
808 or whatever.
an 808 or whatever. And we just sit there with it in a sampler, or if it's a synth, who cares? And we just sit there and write little line until something kind of was like, this is kind of groovy. And then once it was kind of groovy, we'd go to the next spot and we'd make a whole new one. And we just sit there and just practice making tech house bass lines for hours.
Nice.
And we just sit there for hours and figure out. And after you do it enough, you kind of start picking up what patterns work really well for that kind of like bouncing vibe, or for more of a laid back vibe. You kind of figure out like, oh, on the and of 3 and then on the 2, if you duplicate those together, it adds a nice like doom ba doom boom boom ba-dum, bum, bum, and
Yeah.
it continues this nice little driving pattern where if you move those on the half and then the 3, it's kind of more laid back kind of pattern, and you kind of like pick these things up, but it's just like forcing yourself to sit down there and do the work kind of thing.
that's a good idea. Keep it simple at first before you kind of dive in.
Right.
That's the problem I'm having is like since I've been, I guess like, I don't know, started on GarageBand when I was like 20.
Sure.
And that was like 6 years ago. So like, yeah, it's been a while, but I have all these ideas, and then going into Ableton, I'm like, I want to do these things, but I have no
Yeah, it's gonna take
Translating,
no clue
yeah.
how to do it
It's gonna take a minute.
because you know it's just so different and everything like that, and I just like. It's overwhelming for sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah. No,
it's,
it's
all right.
it's,
Oh, yeah.
it's a good overwhelming. You know, I'm glad I'm not stuck on that stupid DAW anymore. It was messing up
That
my mixes and everything.
dog
like that, and
DAW.
That dog DAW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's very enlightening to see everything you can do with Ableton as opposed to some of these other DAWs that
Right.
Fucking
And
crazy,
you
kind of
right?
made for,
You haven't
like,
even fucked
the
with
simple-
Bitwig yet.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Once I guess.
Got to do it once an episode.
That's right. Yeah, that thing where you just make the thing that you're trying to make good for your songs, you just go and practice very specific things of that
Right.
thing.
Like before.
Like the rhythm,
Right.
like the melody that you use, like the designing a bass in general. Like once you have a bunch of those little grooves there, then you can go and make 15 basses in a row, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
or 400
Change 'em up
basses.
just a
You know
little
what I'm
Oh,
saying?
little bit,
shouts.
you know.
'Cause I think when you have the wrong bass tone, it doesn't matter what bass line you do. It's just
Sure,
gonna-
bad.
it's
sure.
not gonna
Yeah, you
But-
gotta have the right tone.
Yeah,
but
that's
you
the
know,
problem I
you
was running
can,
into.
but you can make a sub bass that's just a sine wave and has a little
Yeah.
bit of an attack, and that's all you need for a tech house
Yep.
track. You don't actually
Yeah,
need like a
it's-
crazy cool
it's very
bass tone.
simple, and that's
Yeah.
something I've been learning. You
It
can't
helps,
do
but you don't
way
have
too
to.
much on it.
Yeah.
It'll get
Mhm.
overwhelming, and it'll just drown everything out.
Right.
You just don't know what the hell is going on.
But yeah, it's all like if you don't know how to make like a really good jack and house beat, like I just would sit there and practice
Jacking.
figuring out
Jacking.
where the off snares or the off claps go, bringing in other tracks and referencing and copying where all their hits were, just so I could like do it and see it happen and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
also dragging bass
constantly.
lines into like if you drag a audio clip into MIDI,
Yeah.
and then I mean it does a decent job of trying to like figure out where what notes they're playing and kind of like where they're doing
right,
it.
right. It's fun. It's fun to analyze.
At least like to try just to see what they're
Right.
doing because sometimes they'll do really, and again it's not the most accurate thing in the world.
No,
but
but
it's like,
anything you can do to like investigate what things you like about
Yep.
someone's track and
Yep.
try and figure out what they're doing and just try and replicate it because you're gonna steal it and it's gonna sound different, so it doesn't really matter. Just fucking figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of tech house tracks I've referenced,
Yeah.
and my tracks don't sound anything like
Oh,
tech house anymore.
no.
Right.
At all.
Right.
But
Sure.
I couldn't get there until I figured out how they made it, mastered it, and then fucking shat it out.
I think that's what
Yeah.
originality is being really bad at recreating sounds that you really like, and then you make something
You
original
try
out
to
of
do
it.
Right.
and
That's
then
how I've made the majority of my music is trying to
you
rip people off, but
fail
doing such a
at it.
bad job at it that it makes something interesting.
Exactly.
Right. That's one way to look at it.
You fail at the initial start,
Yeah.
and then you just don't care anymore, and you go with it because
You
it
sit-
just works for you. I
You
guess.
sit for 3 hours trying to make a similar sound on Serum, and you're like, nope, got nothing. And then
Yeah.
you're just like, I'm gonna make something else now.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right though.
Yeah. One of my favorite things to do early on was just reverse engineering presets
That's what I do
just
all
to
the time.
learn how
still.
people did it. Yeah. And same thing like we were talking about with referencing tracks. You just like reverse engineer how they did their track.
Yeah. Everything.
then,
Reverse
yeah.
engineer everything.
Yeah. You figure out the little bits of like you were saying, oh, this is potentially why I like this track or why I like this tone. And then maybe you learn another little thing here and there, like, oh, they did a cool like fill thing here. I've never thought about doing that. Or they did this fun little bit on their build up or some extra little bit. Like
Yeah.
every time I go into like reference mode and I pull on a track, like I almost always learn something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can cheat too, like hardcore. Like one thing I used to love doing, yeah, it's easy. One thing I used to love
No.
doing all the time that I'll still do is like you hear some tone in some track that you like and say it's a tech house track, but you don't. Like there's no video on that track or on that fucking thing. I just look up like as many tech house bass sound tutorials as I can until I find one that's remotely similar.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah,
there
that's
we go.
exactly.
And then I just copy what they're doing, and then I have at least a starting place to be like, oh, now I can start changing the wavetable.
Yeah, just like a super
Right.
simple reference.
Right,
point
right.
to
Just
all.
yeah.
and I'll do that constantly.
I do that on Splice all the time because like Splice has a bunch of presets. Sometimes they're artist ones too, and you just like take it and
yeah,
you're like,
you just reverse engineer it.
even though it's never the bass sound that you want from them, it's
No.
like some other bass sound that they made. But still, you're like, okay, that's close enough. Like I'll
Right.
figure it out
or it might
eventually.
inspire you to do something else. Like I'll have that happen
Right.
all the time where
That's the
I'm
best.
looking for something, I'll find something else and then make something totally different. And then I don't even remember till months later, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was trying to do a thing. And I ended up with a totally
Yeah,
other
it's
track.
Not, it's not
Yeah,
there anymore
yeah.
now. So.
And then the song you were referencing or sound you were referencing is like out of your head, so you come into it with like a fresh mindset.
right.
You approach
Yeah,
it differently.
true.
Yeah, that's a fun spot to be in.
I
love
had
that
a
shit.
random question because I've been struggling with it for a
Okay, let's go.
for a
That's what we're
bit.
talking about.
Sidechaining snares. I've been having should you or do you sidechain your snares to like make them punch harder, or would you
Okay.
just not necessarily?
In my house music, I don't, because the kick already has a trigger and the clap's happening the same time as the kick. If I have a moment where it's just the clap happening, I just still use the kick trigger.
Oh,
I
okay.
just don't give a fuck. I just use
Yeah,
that as the
okay.
trigger for
Yeah.
it.
I get that.
If I'm making halftime, yes, the kick and the snare have two.
Because that's
separate-
kind of what I was thinking. Because I was
sidechains.
recently like, I made a hip hop song, like just some like random hip hop
yeah. If
beat,
it was
and I
hip
was
hop, I would sidechain the clap or the snare. Or
the
whatever
snare
it
as
is.
well. Would
Yeah.
you say? Because I was just wondering. I was like, the snare is not hitting
No, it's
as
gonna
hard
be-
as I want
It's
to.
going to be
want
a
it to.
faster sidechain,
Yep.
and it's gonna. It doesn't have to duck out as much of the lows as it does the mids. You
Right,
gotta
and with
do
the
more
little
mid.
EQ function, you can kind
Right,
of like,
right.
okay, that makes sense. Do you also sidechain hats?
No.
No, okay,
You're
thank God.
talking about on a compressor.
Yes,
the
I don't
little
use the
EQ thing.
I don't.
Yeah,
I,
if it's-
I don't use
yeah,
I
that's
use
different.
sidechain compression.
The
still.
EQ on the compressor that just listens to that part. It doesn't only affect that part.
Thank
Right.
God you said that. Oh
Right.
my God.
Yeah, yeah,
Again.
So you
just
need to
hearing-
split the signal. If
God
you're
damn
using
it.
a compressor, you just need to split the signal in order to only sidechain a certain
Right,
frequency
right.
area.
Basically, pull out
Oh.
multi-band
So-
dynamics and then throw your compressor on just the mids or wherever,
Right.
and then push the top and the bottom bands so it's out of the range of stuff you don't want to sidechain.
That
Yeah.
makes total sense.
And you look at your snare, look at where the bottom fundamental of the snare is, and you sidechain just below that point.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you let the rest of the lows come through.
Right, right.
Right.
So it's just only where the snare is happening does things get sidechained.
Yeah, and you just have a short release.
Yeah, it's just real.
I kind of do short releases
Like-
even kicks as well. I don't do
That depends
super.
on the length of the kick.
I like lately. I've been playing with a lot of shorter kicks. I typically like
I'd love to hear it.
because
It makes more
for,
sense for
it just
four on the floor.
at least because I want my basses to be usually a little bit
You
longer.
hear that, Tech House community?
Oh shit.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah,
A
we're
little kick.
fucking tired of boom.
I don't like. I've been just noticing in my own. Like I just made like a, I guess kind of a tech house song. Like I showed them.
But you noticed the kick was too long?
it was too boomy and long, and I
Do you
was
know what
just
that
like,
means?
what?
That means your ears are growing.
I love it. Yeah, because I was noticing like, because even he was showing me a track like the other day where like we were playing with an Oliver bass, and there was something I was just like, what is wrong with this bass? And the release was super long on it for
Yeah,
no reason. It
that's
just
the-
was
Yeah,
like,
that's
what I was
ooh.
talking
I was like,
about
I don't
earlier.
like that.
It's a really good preset, and it
It's
sounds
just too
amazing,
long.
and it probably works for Oliver because he's making it all himself for himself. But
Right.
trying to
right,
use
right,
it
right.
in any other kind of situation, it was just like, oh wait, this is way too much. Like,
Yeah, did you try shortening the release?
Yes,
it did,
yes.
If
but I
it worked?
think the
But that's
initial
what the
preset was just
troubleshooting. We were
kinda
like, what is
gnarly.
happening?
Yeah,
I've bought presets, like expensive presets, and gone into them, and they like accidentally had one of the oscillators turned off and like the sustain all the way on, and then once I like kind of figured it out and shortened the
just like,
sustain and
why
turned one of the
did I
oscillators, I
spend
was like,
money on
oh,
this?
now it's a wub. I was like, what the fuck was this?
Yeah, like what do you?
You just like
doing?
forget, you just fuck it up somehow. Like It makes sense. I mean, you
Yeah.
got a lot of
Totally.
shit happening. You're trying to put a bunch of
Oh,
shit out.
yeah.
Like,
Totally.
Especially a
fucking-
guy like Oliver who's like 1,000 samples
Yeah, I
per
was just
pack.
about
It's
to
like
say.
he's fucking.
Right.
He's gonna at some point just be like,
So much.
I don't think it was Oliver. I don't remember who it was. But regardless, yeah, it's easy to overlook. But I just thought it was funny.
Especially
as
if you're just preset dumping. Like,
right.
oh, you want to? Okay, yeah, I can do a preset pack. Let me go to my user folder. Boom, 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 boom. I use all these. There you go.
But there's always that.
You don't even
there's
inspect
always,
them to realize, like, oh yeah,
There's
I
always
have
a
to fix
couple-
this bullshit whenever I open this one.
There's always a couple presets that you got saved that I always scroll past, and I should just delete them, but I just have them.
Oh,
You know what I
God,
mean? Where it's
right.
like my user bank, where I'm like, oh, I made this sound. I'm like, nah, it sucks.
All
Oh,
mine
no,
are
I
fucking
keep 'em
all.
so bad at this point.
You keep
I
them all.
Oh yeah.
I keep most. I keep
You
pretty much
never
all.
know.
Of them.
You
Yeah.
never know.
Sometimes.
Especially because don't forget to, like, when you have a good length of effects that you've used for like a mud pie or some kind of weird sound, and it's like a lot, try throwing a fucking just blank serum on there and start cycling through all your presets and just see what the fuck happens. Like, you never know, that one weird pad you made that doesn't do anything and isn't that good might have just needed like 30 amps and a bunch of OTTs for it to come alive.
Let's go.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, don't. Some people call me a hoarder, but you know, you never know when you need the lumber
true.
that's
Yeah,
on
I
the
mean,
back
it's
side
on
of the
it's on a
I have
garage.
a-
computer.
that's why-
It's not like
Oh.
you're actually
Right.
like hoarding.
But yeah, that's
you
why I
know?
don't really. I don't Frankenstein my old tracks really. Like,
I
people
don't
talk
either,
about that
yeah.
all the time.
That
and
doesn't work.
I don't
It
really
just
do
doesn't-
that.
It just doesn't work.
Well, not for us. A lot of people it does work.
Yeah, a lot of
It
people
doesn't work
love
for
doing
me.
that.
I can't get it to work.
I can save some presets. I save most of my presets I make. That's like the best I can do. But I still don't get rid of those old tracks. I have like I've heard
Oh.
people like clearing out their hard drive and shit. And I'm like,
Dude, right?
It's
those,
not like
those
a
bad boys are
complete
getting backed
song.
up.
Yeah, I hoard the
Oh.
shit out
Yeah,
of
like-
Oh, that's where I'm
everything,
different.
yeah.
Like,
Like-
I just deleted a bunch of old shit because I.
No,
Honestly,
Oh.
good for you,
I
man.
plan to have the grandkids be like, "What the fuck? Look at this."
Yeah,
project.
just going
Look,
through.
It's missing
I would just-
so many plugins.
But I was so bad.
Yeah, who cares?
Yeah, I know.
who cares?
And to a child, though,
Have
like,
you
you
heard-
made a thing.
Have
And
you
they're
heard
like,
my like first two tracks?
I think so.
My third
They're
track
better.
was fire.
You
So,
should.
Dude, honestly,
the
They were
first
like
two.
super long, like 8 minutes long or something.
Yeah, I had a
Oh
couple
yeah,
of-
you made epics.
It
like
was
hi-hats
it
and
was
shit.
Like 4
Yeah.
different genres
Well,
in
that's
one.
like later dawn, but like my first like couple, like they're nothing. It's just like hi hats and like wind and like a waterfall happening and then
Yeah.
like a shitty beat. It's like
God,
it's
my
so
first legit
bad.
track. I
Yeah.
had 2 of my friends like MC on it, and it was some weird
Yeah.
hip hop beat.
Was it you?
No,
No,
it's,
it wasn't me.
Tyler
wasn't me.
and
Tyler?
Matt. You've met Matt. but
Matt,
you've not
yeah.
met Tyler. Yeah,
Yeah.
freaking Maddie MC before, right?
Maddie
Get them-
MC.
get them
Maddie
back.
used to
Yeah.
MC.
Really?
Good. Yeah.
Yep, he had a phase.
Yeah,
He just got
all of
into
it.
rapping.
The raps.
He does seem kind of like a phase guy.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is.
The raps
He is.
were very very nerd centric. Like
sure.
they
Super
were like he
political.
was like
Talking
doing
about like Marxism.
yeah, and like very like doing like there was like
He was-
one
Oh, yeah,
part where
he
he's doing
was
like
actually,
equations and
like,
shit.
rapping about math.
Okay, well
Yeah.
that's okay, but rapping like Marxism rap, that's anti-American. Okay, I will have to be honest with
Anti-American.
this house. Do you see what's back
can't
there?
have none of that in
Do
there.
you see
huh?
that?
What is
It's in America.
I don't think
Goddamn
that
American flag.
That flag is really like that's not an
Beautiful.
That's not
You're
an
right.
American
It's
flag.
really beautiful.
There's not
that's
enough stars. on
What
it.
is that, Cambodia?
It's missing that blue stripe.
All right, it's Zimbabwe.
It's
guys.
Zimbabwe.
Jesus, you
Zimbabwe
guys are so
death camps.
uncultured.
You have a Zimbabwe.
So, folks, this is about the time of the show when we start talking about our favorite country,
Zimbabwe.
Oh, I like
Bitwig.
Bitwig.
the Bitwig.
I'm sorry, I gotta say Wakanda. It's my
Wakanda?
favorite.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah, Wakanda.
Okay, wait. Before we get too derailed, we had a homie question in the chat.
Oh, really?
For our
Let's
2
go.
Bitwig
Oh,
legends.
hell yeah.
Russ Title, welcome.
Russ, what's up,
Russ.
buddy?
What's
Sorry,
up?
we tend to ramble. So if you have
No.
questions, sometimes we get there fast, sometimes it takes a sec.
Russ is asking if we're using the spectral frequency splitter in Bitwig. Great question, Russ. And kinda. We've played with it for sure. I haven't figured out a way to use it as like a regular, like basic tool, but I love it for
Okay.
just general trying to like
General
It was close.
It was close, yeah.
In general, I like to use it to try and make a sound cooler,
Nice.
basically. But I haven't used it like very like in a mixing sense really much. You know,
Yeah.
I was hoping it would be mix help.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
In my brain, what I'm thinking is it's gonna show things. I think it's more of it'll be more of a like a monitoring tool as opposed in terms of a mix than a affecting tool.
Oh,
Like to be
interesting.
able to bring in the loudness splitter
Yeah.
and solo what's quiet and kind of see
Yeah.
what you need to do, or solo the loud to see what's pushing too hard, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I fucked with them a little bit creatively. The one that splits the even and odd harmonics, the harmonics split one, that one's the coolest. I
Oh,
think
that's
so
crazy
far.
as
It's
fuck.
fucking gross.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Distorting the evens and the odds separately is so
Oh,
stupid.
what?
It's so stupid. I haven't had enough time to like really build like a cool
Right.
bass sound, but just throwing wubs
Damn.
in there with like
Through it,
different ones
yeah.
is like it's interesting.
Like
That's
on an
blowing my
FM
mind.
bass or something like
just
that?
any kind of
anything.
sound. It
Okay.
like it doesn't matter the sound. It's what happens after. It's
Oh,
splitting it on all the evens and the odds,
That's so sick.
which a square wave, if I'm correct, is all odd harmonics, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then a sine
Oh.
or a saw wave is all evens, or is it all
A saw wave is all. I think triangle is all evens.
all evens? Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite
to
waveform.
give you some kind of perspective about like what the odds and evens are.
Yeah.
But this thing splits them, so you can like, it's weird. It's weird. You always kind of get a little bit of like spectralness if you push it too hard. If you use them really
Right.
subtly, you don't get any of the spectral kind of aliasing, for lack of a better word, kind of happening. But if you push it hard, you still kind of get that.
He said same fun to play with, but
But
there's a but.
Right.
But it's just
Oh,
dot
it's
dot
the
dot.
same butt as our butt.
yeah,
Oh, the same but.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
You guys got the same but.
Oh, holy shit! Wait, I think we're wrong. It says the triangle wave contains only odd harmonics. So I guess square is even.
So square must be even, yeah.
I thought
Just
this whole
that.
time that square was odd. Let me check that.
Go ahead and fact check that for us, Austin.
Yeah,
Oh, I got you.
You just said that live.
I'm the Jamie.
Yeah, you can. So basically, all these things they do spectral analysis of whatever varying things, whether
The
it's
signal is-
transient versus like the body of a sound, frequency ranges, harmonic ranges, and then loudness. And it allows you to then you can like solo them, you can pan them, you can put any effect you want on each of the individual things. So frequency splitter, but like where you take like two. I don't know. Have you split frequencies in Ableton?
Nope.
No.
No?
Hey,
Absolutely
you have a
not.
little bit. You've used like OTT and multiband
I have, yes.
compression.
Okay,
Yeah,
I've used
I'm just-
OTT
I
like a
don't know
couple
all
of
the-
times.
Well, like you haven't like made a rack to split up the frequencies so you can do different areas. So basically, if you take like a multiband compressor or something and turn the settings off of the compressor to where they're not doing any compressing or expansion, and then group it, and then solo only the lows.
Oh, I have done that with a multiband before, though.
Okay.
Just like soloed the mid, like, especially like if it's a bass sound and I want to hear like how muddy the mids are or something like that. I'll like solo it, but I haven't
Right.
done the thing where I turn off all the parameters.
What you
want
want to do is make a rack that utilizes the crossover between the lows and the mids in order to split up the areas of sound, and then affect them separately.
Oh,
It's actually
Basically.
really easy in Ableton, and I'm sure even easier in Bitwig. I can show you guys how to do that at some point.
Don't get on the-
Definitely
Yeah,
easier
this
in
is like-
Bitwig.
Yeah.
It's like
Great.
Everything I need to learn. At
Wait, so
this
before we
point.
move on, I'm fucking mind blown. So Caleb, we were right. Squares are only odd harmonics, but
Okay.
apparently triangle is also only odd harmonics.
It's just like I think it's.
So-
I
It's like
think it,
skipping one or something.
or it's like reducing amplitude every mathematical equation to the point where it creates the
That's got to be
the
it. Yeah,
triangle as opposed to full amplitude of every odd.
that's what it is.
It must be something like that because that's what that is. That's amplitude. So that would make sense.
I have a
Right.
question. If you were on a desert island, you could only pick saw waves or square waves. You had to
Square.
pick one.
Sine.
No, you can't pick sine.
Oh, what? Saw or
Nope.
square?
Square.
Saw.
Saw.
That is tough.
I think I'd go saw.
No, but yeah. But squares are really good for bass sounds.
I'd rather
saw.
I'd rather be
Saw.
able to take
Square?
away
Yeah, honestly,
harmonics.
saw.
because then
Yeah,
Saw.
because
Yeah.
you can take away
Saw.
You can take away.
harmonics. You can't
It's gonna
add
be
them.
yep,
yeah,
exactly.
and
Saw,
they're-
You
dude.
could with distortion.
Saw, dude.
Oh,
Saw, dude.
I just like square waves.
You like a square.
They're-
Well, you like it the video games, and they use a lot of the.
Yeah,
I'm
they
more of
square.
a pulse
They
square
kinda do.
kind of
Oh,
guy.
I only use
so-
pulse waves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So here, this is a sine wave bass patch that I have.
Oh,
So here's the whole thing. Let's
it's got some.
let's distort it a little bit before, so we can hear each thing happening.
Oh. Whoa.
Yeah, baby.
Sound toys, huh?
So here's the evens.
Shout out Sound Toys.
Mhm.
Give us free stuff.
Those
Please.
are-
Yes, please.
So these are just the evens.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it does.
Wow.
Oh, it sounds so
Honestly,
much better.
soloing just the odds sounds sick.
Yeah, that sounds great. The evens sound like butt.
So dark.
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
It's kind of
So
weird.
are we
like,
gonna have a thing?
everything. Okay,
no more
so
even frequencies. We're done.
now
Nope.
let's throw
Canceled.
No.
the
Cancel.
decap on the odds, and then let's throw a amp on the evens.
Oh,
Ooh, that's bad.
I want to just set these.
it's beautiful.
It's crazy because you could just grab these even frequencies, and then you could make them wide.
Right.
You know, like you can just put a chorus and have only wide
Oh my god.
certain frequency ranges.
you
Like
coming
it's
right
like
now?
wild.
Dude, yeah.
Austin just came a little.
Oh
yeah.
So you gotta go change.
Gotta go change your pants.
I can sit in it for a bit.
Ugh,
No, we're all okay with that.
it's not.
Honestly, I know one day I'm gonna switch to Bitwig. There's just so much cool shit.
I'm scared for that day. I'm gonna have to learn something else.
It's not as bad.
Do a little
as you would
squeaker
think.
there.
Yeah, this sounds really good.
Ooh.
Now let's turn our odds down a little bit.
All the
I also think that these headphones are not very good.
No,
So
they're
I'm
not.
hearing I'm
dude.
hearing like the
Oh, yeah,
weirdest
you-
sounds
you
right
have-
now.
you
I'm
have
like,
bad ones.
this fucking bass sounds weird as shit. Is anyone else getting that?
It does
It
sound
does
weird,
sound
though.
really,
It's
really
very
weird.
strange.
But you take this, it's got this weird tonality to it,
Oh, great. Yeah, there we go. I like that.
and then you just mix it in a little bit.
Oh, I've heard a bass like that before.
And then you keep adding a little bit of distortion.
Wow.
It's almost Reese. It's Reese-esque.
It's pretty
Kinda
hot.
does-
Yeah, it's a
kinda
sexy
That sounds like
little
a
boy
That
right
top
there.
end,
It's like it's got kind of like a lot of
It's like a flappy.
wobbling
Yeah.
to it almost. Like,
Right. Right?
Oh,
I was getting vocally too.
yeah.
I'm
it
gonna
does
save
kinda-
this. I'm gonna save
Yeah,
this.
you might as well.
That sounds.
That's a good one.
That sounds.
If anybody watching right now hears this preset in a future Party B song, you get
You get that.
Insider
you
knowledge.
get to know you actually you
Mhm.
you know something or something.
Yeah. It's a little bit of dump in that truck.
Yeah. Yeah. They should really have a dump truck plugin, like something that's called dump truck.
Oh, there's dumpster fire.
truck
game.
What was the stupid one we were talking about the other way? Was it the
Something like
Bigifier?
Dump truck
Oh,
is a good
Bigifier,
Party
yeah,
B
it was
tune.
a-
No, yeah, we
It's a
were.
Bigifier.
We almost convinced
True.
AC there was a plugin called Bigifier, which was
No, there wasn't.
no.
Oh,
you
yeah,
thought
that's
for a
right,
sec
that's
there was
right.
a Bigifier. Which why not?
Yeah.
At this point, you might as
I mean,
well. have
FL Studio has a sound goodizer. Like,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No wonder it's a hip hop, mostly hip hop.
Yeah.
I love that.
yeah, were you dunking on fucking?
No, I fucking love hip hop.
You guys heard it here first. AT hates hip hop.
I do not hate hip hop.
He thinks it's the lowest tier of production.
He's just
That's
a
No,
fucked
we
up,
all
dude.
know-
said it, not me.
No, we all know what it
Jesus
is.
Christ,
The
guys.
lowest tier. It's Moombatones.
Started at the
Moom-
bottom.
oh,
Now we're
yeah.
here.
It's
Right,
Moombatoone.
right.
It's Moombatoone, guys. We already
don't know
know the
about that.
lowest tier.
Moombatoone gets fire, dude.
I
Have you ever been
fucking-
to a fucking
hate
Moombatoone club?
Moombatoone.
Yeah,
I
it
haven't.
was,
I'd be
Boom.
down
well,
though.
wasn't the second level of vinyl fucking
Fucking
Moombatoone for a sec when we walked up
Moombatoone.
there? We were
Mhm.
just
I
like,
believe
what
it.
the hell is going on?
Yeah, dude.
For some reason, that drum beat just makes me angry. I don't like it. No offense to the Latin folks out there, but I fucking shit sucks.
I don't think you've danced with the right. Oh, wow. I don't think you've danced with the right Latin lately.
I have not though. That's true. I think one night I'll just go. Oh, there's somebody asking
Insult
us
them
for
to
a
their
free
face.
Vert
Oh.
girls in chat.
Sick, dude.
Oh wow, can we get them Sex Chat 69?
3 times, too.
Oh yeah, no, I actually know Sex Chat 69 personally. She's
Oh,
really
sick. That's tight.
she's really sweet.
She likes to sex chat.
Yeah, she likes sex.
I would imagine so.
And 69 if you know what I'm saying.
Dude, that's tight.
Are we getting demonetized already?
I'm still
No.
just mind blown by that even and odd harmonic separation, and then you
You're
can process
going
them
back.
differently.
You're like, please.
That's the fucking sickest thing. I've never even thought about like trying to do something like that. That's
yeah, that never crossed my
so
mind
insane.
before either.
What?
Yeah, the
Splitter.
even an odd splitter, and then you can
Right,
process them
right,
differently.
right.
That's fucking so sick.
Because I mean, we went from
You could have like formants that are doing like different things on them. So you're doing like a double formant, but it's not affecting either of them. I bet you could get some weird fucking
so this
gurgles
is just,
Oh,
out
yeah.
of
this
that
is just
shit.
normal.
Right?
Makes it kind of
Insane.
sound like acidy. Almost.
Oh,
It's
right.
got-
Go up an octave?
It's only like certain notes because it starts hitting different even and odd harmonics.
Right, right.
yeah, it just sounds way different up there.
It sounds kind of the same. It's down
Yeah,
here.
down
Yeah,
there.
that's where
the
it's at.
sweet spot.
That's where it's at.
That's the G spot.
There's a G spot.
I'm playing G. So
Oh.
that makes
Wow, that
Yeah,
is a
they-
G spot.
It literally is.
folks, on that, we're fucking nearing the end of this show.
Oh, really?
Wow.
That felt quick.
I
Here
know,
we are.
right? Time flies when you're.
When you're talking.
I was gonna say sucking dick, but I was like, no, that's fucking.
Oh, you
too
said it
obvious.
anyway.
I'm not
That's
making
too
a
obvious.
low-hanging
Well, I
fruit
mean,
joke.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
It
Yeah.
does. You're not wrong.
You're low hanging fruit. Yeah.
Time does fly when you're sucking dick, though. He's
Yeah.
right.
No, dude, it feels like I mean, wow.
We had a good time. Did everybody have a good time?
I had a grand time.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's my first time here. I was glad to be
Oh,
part of it.
I think I'm supposed to be saying that, not you.
Thank
you said
you.
it.
Guys, where can the
anyways, so-
people find you on the internet?
You can go
Where's your
to
SoundClouds?
SoundCloud. It's just Von Cluse.
Von
mine is
Cluse?
Worn In.
Warning. Is it
Warning.
Yeah. Worn In. And if you look up
Warning.
Worn In.
I'm warning
W-O-R-N.
I'm warning
Yeah,
you.
Worn In. I'm warning
Yeah,
you.
like
I know,
something's
I heard
all
you. I
warned
heard you.
in.
Yeah.
And then Von
And,
Cluse boy.
Although disclaimer, all my stuff from GarageBand is mixed very strangely because GarageBand was telling me I was clipping the whole time,
Eh.
so it's all super quiet.
Yeah,
It's
that'll happen.
intentionally aesthetic.
Yes,
I
it is
wish-
aesthetic.
I wish it wasn't like that at this point, but yeah, it was unfortunately.
The song that I
all
released,
intentional.
Bad Snacks, compared to Todd Terje.
Okay,
Wow.
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah, and actually,
I don't.
the
I
word.
don't really see that, honestly.
No, it
Yeah,
doesn't
that
sound like
doesn't
it really to me at
really-
all.
Mr. Von Cluse over here just put out an EP a little bit ago, and then Warren dropped his first track. So everybody go check those out.
Go
Yeah,
those
check out
folks.
Worn In.
Hit the sub button. Hit the like.
Give
all
us
the
your firstborn
things.
son.
We'll see you cats on the flip flop.
Flippity flop. Bye. Thank you.